Hello everyone, welcome to the video tutorial series of the web development. I am your instructor Varsha Tak. Let's start our today's lecture. So at the end of this video, you will be able to learn about the CSS variable. Then we will learn what is media query and then we will learn the responsive web design. So let's learn about this. So first of all, CSS variables. Okay, so the CSS variables are used to add the values of the custom property to our web page. So whenever you want to add any custom property, so at that time you can use the CSS variables. The custom properties are sometimes referred to as the cascading variables or CSS variables. So this custom property is known as the cascading variables or CSS variables. As in C, we can define our own data type. So here also you can define your own custom properties. Okay, so that is known as the cascading variable, or we can say it is a CSS variable. These entities are set using the custom property notation and can be accessed by using the var function. Okay, so that is defined using the var function. So we can access it using the var function. The variables store the values and have a scope in which they can be used. Okay, so the variables store the values. Okay, so in the variable there is a value that we can define like attribute value pair and have a scope in which they can be used. CSS variables are advantageous because they allow us to reuse the same value at the multiple places. Okay, so this is the advantage of the CSS variable. You can use the same value. You can use the multiple values at the, you can use the same value at the multiple places. Okay, so that's why this is the advantage of the CSS variable. Now here you can see this is the syntax for defining the CSS variable. Here you can see the element is that in which in the curly bracket you have to define with this double dash main color colon brown. Okay, so this is the your property value name and here you have to define its value. A variable in CS is defined by using the two dashes. So whenever you are going to define the variable, you have to define the two dashes at the beginning followed by the name, which is case sensitive. Okay, so this name is case sensitive. Okay, so here after the double dash you have to define the name and this name should is a case sensitive. So capital MAIN color is different and small MAIN color is a different variable name. So here in the above syntax, the element indicates the selector. So here you have to define the selector. Okay, so this element that means what the selector, and we have learned the different 5 types of selectors are there. So that selectors you have to define. That specifies the scope of the custom property. Okay, so it specifies the scope of the custom property where it can be used. So if we define in the custom property on the root, this is one of the pseudo classes. So if you will define it on the root class, then it will be globally applied to the HTML document. Okay, so this is the what? One of the pseudo class, that is the global class. So if you will assign this variable to this pseudo class, that is the root. Okay, so this is a global class, so that you can use that particular variable in the entire HTML document. But you have specified something specific element, for example div. So that variable only you can use in the div. The name of the custom properties are the case sensitive. For example, main color and main color will be treated as a separate custom property. Okay, so likewise in C, these identifiers are case sensitive. Now next one is the var function. The var function in CSS is used to insert the custom property value. Okay, so it is used to insert the custom property value. The name of the variable can be passed as the argument to the var function. Okay, so here let's see in the example, so you will have the better idea. Variable in the CSS should be declared within the CSS selector. Okay, that defines its scope. So here it should be declared within the CSS selector. So it defines its scope. For a global scope, you have to use either root or the body selector. Okay, so if you want to define a global scope for the variable, so as you have to use the root selector, root pseudo class, or you have to use the body selector. Okay, so it can be applied globally in all the HTML document. So now here you can see the syntax for the variable, that is where double dash custom name and the value. Now here let's see what is this parameter. The where function only allows two arguments that are defined as follows. First one is the custom name. Here you can see the double dash custom name. This parameter accepts the name of the custom property. Okay, so it is the name of the custom property. User defined name is there. You can define any name. It must begin with the two dashes and it is the required parameter. Okay, always whenever we are going to define the CSS variable, it always starts with the double dash. Okay, and it is required it is the required parameter. Then next one is the value. So it is an optional parameter and accepts the fallback value. Okay, so it is an optional parameter. Okay, and accepts the fallback value. It is used as the substitutions when the custom property is invalid. Okay, so when the custom property is invalid, at that time it will use this value. Now here you can see how to define the CSS variable and how to use it. So here you can see, here we have defined root. Root, that means we have defined it as a globally. In globally we have defined the my color variable name and I have defined here green. So what will happen? We are going to apply this in the division. Okay, so here you can see the division as a ID selector hash. The ID start with this hash. That means what? This is a ID selector. Background color is equal to, you can write like this way. Variable, my variable. So whatever the color we have applied over here, that will be directly assigned to this background color of the division 1. So green will be assigned. Same way here also green will be assigned. Here also green will be assigned. So you can say same value you can apply at the multiple places. So like this way you can use the variables. Okay, so here you can see these are the three different divs. In this, the green color is applied over here. So you will have the better idea about it, that whenever you are going to apply the CSS variable, how it will work and how this will give the output as for all three divs, that is in the green color. Now before starting the media query, let's understand this CSS variables first. Okay, so here you can see here, this is the HTML document in which I have defined this type. Just a second, just give the tab to this proper indentation. Okay, so here you can see we have defined this root as a pseudo classer, so we can apply this thing as a globally. Here you can see I have defined the two variable name. One is the BG color, that is a red, and another was the BG color 1, that is blue. So two variables are defined. Here in first variable, the red will be the color, and in the second variable, the blue will be the color. Now, what will happen? See here. This is the another div. Okay, so here the ID is given, that is a div1. Okay, or you can use directly this div selectors. But here we have to apply this thing to three different divisions. So that's why we cannot use as a div selector. Okay, so here you can see the div1 background color variable. You have to access this value using this syntax. Okay, so variable double dash BG color. So that means what will happen? Background color variable double dash BG color. So here you can see that red color will be applied. Here we have provided the padding 5 pixel, that means from all the side 5 pixel padding will be there. Got it? Then next here you can see the background color variable, that is BG color 1. In BG color 1 we have the color blue. Okay, and same way I have defined the padding 5 pixel from all the sides, 5 pixel padding is there. Okay, and here in the division 3 again the background color variable BG color. So red, blue and red. So this 3D, here you can see we have specified the div, and here we have used the ID selector. That's why we have to specify here. You can see the div ID div1, ID div2 and ID div3. Got it? Okay. So CSS variable examples. Okay, CSS variable example. Just I have copied this thing again. So you will have the better idea about this. of the padding and as well as of this CSS variable, how it is work. So let's see the output of this by executing this. Okay, so here you can see this is in the red color, this is in the blue color, and this is in the again red color. So same way you can define the third variable also, and here you can define like this way. Suppose I am defining third variable, that is double dash, sorry, my variable colon. Suppose I am applying aqua. Okay, so let's see this my variable, double dash my variable, and this. Okay, just save it and just execute it. So you will have the three different colors as in G. Got it? So like this way you can use the CSS variables. Now let's start with the media query. CSS media query is a W3C recommendation and a CSS3 module which is used to adapt to conditions such as the screen resolutions. So smartphone screen versus the computer screen. So at that time this media query is used. The media query technique first used in CSS3. So this feature is available in the CSS3 only. This is not available in the CSS2. And it becomes the recommendation in the June 2012. Okay, so it is an extension of the media dependent style sheet used in the different media types. For example, screen, print, found in the CSS2. Okay, so the most commonly used media feature is width. Mostly this feature is used. Okay, and whenever we are using the media query, we have to write @media rule to include the block of the CSS property only if the certain condition is true. Okay. So here you can see this is the syntax for defining the media query @media. Okay, so that we have seen in the last slide. And here you can see the media type that you have to define and the media feature rules on according to which conditions you are going to define this rules. And here the CSS property values is goes over here. So CSS rules will be defined in between the curly braces. A media type which tells the browser what kind of media this code is for. For example, for print, for screen, etc. A media expressions, which is the rule or text that must be passed for the contained CSS to be applied. A set of CSS rules that will be applied if the text passes and the media type is correct. Okay, so here a set of CSS rules that will be applied when the text passes, when the conditions will be true. So at that time that effect will be, you can see that effect that we will see in the practical, so you will have the better idea about this. Okay, so whenever that conditions will be true, so at that time media type is correct. So at that time it will just execute that particular event that we have specified in that rule. Now here you can see how to define the media query. So as I told you, whenever you are going to define the media query, you have to write the @media. After that, you have to write this media type. Here we are applying to the screen. So that's why we have to define its screen. And here we have to define the max width 600 pixels. So what is the meaning of this? Let's see. And here in the body, we are defining the background color light blue. So what will happen? So if screen size is less than 600 pixel, then it will show the light blue color, or else it will show the light pink color that you have already defined. So for the background color is light pink, but when the size become less than 600 pixel, so at that time it will show this light blue color. Okay, so let's see the output of this. Just a second. Okay. So here you can see this is the media query that we have seen in the slide, that is saying define over here body background color light pink, and here we have defined this is the media query. So media screen and maximum width 600 pixel. body background color, that is light blue. So when it will become if the screen size is less than 600 pixel, then it will show the light blue color, otherwise it will show the pink color. So just execute this practical so you will have the better idea about this. So see here, now it is in light blue color. Got it? But whenever I am just decreasing its size, see here, its color is changing. Why? Because now it is a less than 600 pixel, that's why. And suppose now I am increasing the size, it will change its color to pink. Got it? So this is what? This is the effect of the media query. So mostly this feature is applied to the screen. Okay, and you can apply for the print also. So this is what the media query. Got it? Now let's see the responsive web design. Okay, responsive web design is about creating the web pages that look good on all the devices. So responsive web design use only HTML and CSS. One of the example that we have recently seen, that is the media query, also example of the responsive web design. Responsive web design is not a program or a JavaScript. A responsive web design will automatically adjust for the different screen sizes and the viewports. That means for different devices that we have seen in the meta text. Responsive web design is about the using HTML and CSS to automatically resize, hide, shrink or enlarge a website to make it look good on all the devices. So that is a desktop, tablet and phones, etc. So let's see the different responsive this effect. So setting the viewport that we have already learned in the meta tag. Okay, so to create a responsive website, add the following meta tag to your all your web pages. So that we have learned already in the meta tag. So meta name, viewport, content width, device width, and initial scale 1.0. Okay, so that is what the responsive web responsive page will be there whenever the device is the laptop or whenever the device is a mobile phone. So at that time it will work according to the resolution of that particular device. Then next one is the responsive images. Okay, so responsive image are images that scale nicely to fit any browser size. That means what? You can set the responsive image using the 100% of the this width property. Okay, so you have to set the width as 100%, so you can define the this responsive image. So here you can see how to define image. SRC is equal to image. Suppose I have defined this image girl.jpg, or you can define any name. And here you have to define style is equal to width 100%. So it will become the responsive image. Then next one is the responsive text size that we have already learned when we have seen the different types of font styles. Okay, so here the text size can be set with a VW unit. So that is a viewport, which means the viewport width. Okay, so that way the text size will follow the size of the browser window. So here you have to define style font size is equal to 10 VW. Okay, so this is what the responsive text. Then next you can use the media query that we have learned recently. Okay, so media query is also the example of the responsive website. You can define the responsive website using the feature of the media query. So in addition to resize the text and image, it is also common to use the media query in the responsive web pages for the screen resolution and for the responsive screen. With media queries, you can define the completely different styles for the different browser size. Okay, so here let's see first these two practicals. Just for the responsive image and viewport, we have already learned about the viewport, but still let's see about this. First of all, execute this, then we will see the code. So here you can see this is the responsive. Okay, so this is the responsive font. Okay, so see here, just I am decreasing the size. So what will happen? It decrease the size. Got it? Same way here you can see. This is the image. What I am doing? See here. What is happening? Whenever I am increasing the size, it increase its size. Whenever I am decreasing the size, it is decreasing, the image is decreasing in the size. Got it? So this is what? This is the responsive image and responsive font we can say. So see here. How to define the responsive font? Style font size 10, 20 VW now we have defined. That's why it is a little big. And here to define the image, you can see image src is equal to image1. This is already there in our in the folder where my practical is saved. So that's why I just have to write image1.jpg, and style width is equal to 100%. That defines the responsive image. Got it? Okay, so in this lecture we have learned about the CSS variables, how to define it. Then we have learned about the media query, that is again one of the responsive web design content, and responsive web design, in which we have seen the viewport, that means viewport width font. Then we have learned about the images and the media query is that. Got it? So this is all about this lecture. Remaining interesting topic we will cover in the next lecture. Thank you for watching. Thank you.